Guys, you guys okay over there?
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Mo Rocca.
50 years ago, a new movie warned you'll never go in the water again. And it wasn't just hype. The movie, of course, was Jaws, and it changed Hollywood and our thoughts about a moonlight swim forever. We dive in with Ben Mankiewicz.
It's too neat.
It's too neat?
Oh, yeah, by far.
That is the Orca, the boat from Jaws. It's a replica, of course. The original one sank, weighed down by a 5-ton man-eating shark.
It needs to be slightly bigger.
The guy next to the Orca, however, is the real thing. It's been a while since Richard Dreyfuss was on Martha's Vineyard.
What are your memories of Jaws? Are they good? Are they strong?
They're great.
But back then, he did everything he could not to be in the movie.
I turned the film down a couple of times because I was thinking that it was going to be a bitch to shoot. And I was not wrong. But it was such an adventure. And if you had to pick one word to describe the shoot, it was waiting.
Now 77, Dreyfuss remembers the standing around, but he also knows Jaws, made here on the island in the summer of 1974, turned him into a Hollywood star.
Is there ever a moment where you think we're making one of the greatest outdoor films of all time?
No.
No. When did you realize it?
First, I had to realize that we were obviously making a turkey, and this thing was going to crash and burn.
The production was a legendary slog. This was the first Hollywood movie to shoot on the unpredictable open seas of the Atlantic. The mechanical shark rarely worked in salt water, and the budget more than doubled. But Steven Spielberg, this 27-year-old director making his first big studio picture, turned misfortune into opportunity. Jaws became one of the most influential American films of the 20th century and ushered in the summer blockbuster. Set 50 years ago, over the July 4th weekend, the plot, says Richard Dreyfuss, is simple.
This was the story of three guys against this shark. It was this human thing.
Kill it! Now! Shoot!
And we were really good. And we knew it. Wow, that kid getting bitten. And if you remember the beginning of the film, you are terrified before you see the shark.
Before the shark brought terror to the big screen, it arrived at the bookstore. In 1974, Peter Benchley's novel became a bestseller. Spielberg read it and immediately wanted to direct the movie version, though he was unhappy with early drafts, so he asked a friend, screenwriter Carl Gottlieb, to rip it to shreds.
Steven sent it to me with a note on the cover that said, eviscerate it.
Eviscerate it.
Eviscerate it. And I wrote a lengthy memo.
A lot of details.
Yeah. I say, if we do our jobs right, people will feel about going in the water the way they felt about taking a shower after Psycho.
They did their jobs all right, led by those three guys. Robert Shaw as Quint, the hunter with a shark-infested backstory. Roy Scheider, the police chief afraid of the water.
I'm not going to waste my time arguing with a man who's lining up to be a hot lunch.
And Dreyfuss, who changed his mind about making Jaws after seeing and hating his own performance in the film he'd just made, The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz.
I said, if I'm not working when this film comes out, I'll never work again. And so I went back to Steven and begged him for the part. And he gave it to me. They had started shooting April 2nd. I was cast on the 3rd. My first day of shooting was the 4th. That was the way it all went.
Not for me. I had nothing to lose. I was getting older. I was 32. That's almost ancient.
Lorraine Gary played Ellen Brody, the police chief's wife.
And it sounded like fun.
What about being cast in this sounded like fun to you?
Going on location to Martha's Vineyard, I had never been there. Robert Shaw sounded like fun.
Well, I think I know what that means, but what does that mean?
You know what it means, and so do you in the audience.
Her experience with Roy Scheider, that was less fun.
I feel closer to you than I did to the man who played my husband. I think Roy was very protective of his career. I think he was at that point in his career where he hadn't quite made it to being a big-time star. And perhaps he thought that I wasn't top drawer enough to be his wife. I felt older and larger, big head.
Literally big head.
Literally, I mean, he told me, your head is bigger than mine in the two-shot.
Bring it up with it, Chief!
In addition to writing the script, Carl Gottlieb played newspaperman Harry Meadows.
I want to get on the state wire service to see if Boston will pick it up and go national. Call Dave Axelrod.
Gottlieb's favorite moment didn't even need dialogue. Gottlieb, who earned roughly $13,000 for writing and acting in Jaws,
Come on, please, I need a picture for the paper.
says much of the dark humor was not on the page.
We were blessed with a cast that could kind of ad-lib in character.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Most actors, if you say ad-lib, makes their part bigger. But here, people were ad-libbing relatively selflessly. When I spotted something potentially funny, or if there was humor in something, I would say to Stephen, I think we got a laugh here if we change the line.
Stephen was always responsive to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there were the delays. As the shooting schedule tripled from 55 days to 159, the actors started to get under each other's skin.
Stop playing with yourself, Hooper!
The thing about Robert Shaw, he knew that he had me psychologically, like with a little pin through my stomach. And if he said that I couldn't do 25 sit-ups, I couldn't, but I could. And he would say, you can't jump off the top of the Orca into the water. And I couldn't, but I could.
He had you.
He had me.
Yeah.
I spoke to Dreyfuss at the Harborview Hotel, where some of the cast and crew stayed, and where Oscar-winning editor Verna Fields cut much of the movie. It's also the scene of a Jaws food fight.
Do you remember who threw the first lobster roll? Is that?
Well, it was either Roy or me.
Jaws surfaced on June 20th, 1975. For the first time ever, a movie opened nationwide. And for the first time ever, a movie made more than $100 million.
Why did Jaws work as well as it did?
You know, why is the Mona Lisa still a hit? It had that combination of things, any 3 of which or 5 of which would have made it a hit, but it had like 10 of those.
Jaws changed Hollywood, as well as the lives of everyone associated with it. Steven Spielberg has become the defining director of his generation, and the legacies of Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, and Richard Dreyfuss are forever linked to this film, a movie that millions of us still think about every single time we stroll toward the ocean.
I will never walk from the beach into the water so that the water comes up to my chest. If and when that ever happens, I'll either be dead or in a mental institution. The fact that I can't see what's happening underneath is so real to me, I can't do it.
So before Jaws and after Jaws?
Before Jaws, I didn't care.
You kicking.